On this video, I am reading from Matthew 5:1 and following. I'm reading it in the Greek with an English translation. Idon de tous aklus anebe eis ta oras, kai kathisantas autou, praseothan autou hoi mathetai autou. And when he saw the crowds, he went into a mountain, and when he sat down, his disciples came to him. Jesus is sitting down to teach. A rabbi would sit to teach. The disciples are coming to him, and he's teaching them. So I believe that this section that we're about to read is the Beatitudes given to the disciples concerning the life that he's calling his followers to have. Verse 2, Kai anoi sax ta stama autu edidas gain autus legon. And when he opened his mouth, he was teaching them, saying, Notice this is Jesus' teaching, and he's beginning now with blessed. The word blessed can mean happy. Makarioi hoi petohoi to numati hati auton estin he basidea ton uranon. Happy or blessed are the poor in spirit, for belonging to them is the kingdom of heaven. To be poor in spirit, I think, means to be humble in one's spirit and rather than arrogant, for belonging to them is the kingdom or rule of the heavens, Jesus is saying. And then we come to the next verse, Makario ehoi penthuntes, hate autoi paratletes santai. That is, blessed are they who mourn, because they shall be comforted. People were mourning then and mourning now for many reasons, and mourning for sins, personal sins, as well as hurt and pain, for they shall be comforted. Speaking of those that are disciples seeking to follow Christ. Then verse 5, Makario ehoi praes hati autoi Susin tain gain. Happy or blessed are the gentle, because they shall inherit the earth. The gentle will inherit the earth. And I think he's talking about the new earth, the new heaven that Jesus will come to establish someday. Blessed are the gentle, or happy are the gentle, for they will inherit the earth. Verse 6, Makario ehoi penuntes kai dipsotes tain dictiasunen hate autoi cortas santai. Happy are they that mourn, happy are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. I think righteousness here means hungering and thirsting to do what the Lord is calling his followers to do, to follow him in the righteousness and actions that he is calling his disciples to follow and to be like. So then we move on. Makarioi hoi ele emanes hate autoi ele ethesantai. Blessed are the merciful, those who show mercy, because they shall be pitied. Disciples are to show pity on others, mercy on others, for they will be pitied in the world to come, I think Jesus is saying. And then verse 8, Makarioi, hoi kataroi te cardia ha te autoi tanta an apsantai. Happy or blessed are the pure in heart, those who are pure in their mind, in their heart, like children, because they shall see God. To have the vision of God, the beatific vision, and see Him and experience Him, one has to have a pure heart, not a deceptive heart, I believe he's saying here. And then in verse 9, Makarioi, hoi ere napoioi, hate autoi huioi theou plete santai. Happy are the peacemakers, because they shall be called the children of God, the sons of God. So those that make for peace, he's saying, will be called the children of God and live it out toward others. And then, Makario ehoi dediokmenoi heneken dekayasunes, hate auton esten he basileia ton uranon. Happy are they who have been persecuted on account of righteousness, because belonging to them is the kingdom of the heavens. Those who have been persecuted following righteousness, following the Lord. Jesus says belonging to them is the kingdom of heaven if they're doing it because of their love for Christ and desire to follow him. Then verse 11. Makarioi este hatan anedesosin humas kai dioxosin kai aposin pan paneran kat humon pseudamenoi heneken emu. Happy are you whenever they revile you and persecute you and say all evil against you falsely on account of me. In other words, if you're persecuted on account of me, happy or blessed are you. Kairete kai agaliaste hatecha mistas humas palus in tois unanois hutos gar adioxan tus prophetas pras pro or tus pro humon. Rejoice and be glad, because your reward in heaven is much. For thus they persecuted the prophets which were before you. In other words, when you are persecuted on account of my name, Jesus says, then you can rejoice, because they persecuted the prophets which were before you. And it's a wonderful series of verses looking at the life of a follower of Jesus Christ. And he goes on to say, as you follow me, you then become the salt of the earth and the light of the world. So as we go on in verse 13, I'm just going to read the phrases. Humes estin ta alas tes ges. You are the salt of the earth. And if the salt becomes savorless, by what shall it be salted? It is availing nothing except having been cast outside to be trodden underfoot by men. In other words, you're to be the salt, to provide flavor by this kind of life. And then in verse 14, humes estitafos tu cosmu. And furthermore, you are the light of the world. A city is not able to be hidden when it is lying or reclining on a mountain. Neither do they burn a lamp and place it under a lampstand, but place it under a bushel, but upon a lampstand, and it provides light to all the house. Thus, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. And Jesus is saying, the light of disciples of Jesus should follow the works that Jesus has prescribed, and it'll provide a light in the midst of the darkness of this world.